When Ethan Brooks stepped quietly into Harvest Grounds Cafe, once the busiest spot in the city, no one had any idea he was the man who originally opened it. He wore a faded gray t-shirt, a brown apron, and a plain black cap, the kind worn by janitors who come and go unnoticed. "Today I'm Ethan the cleaner," he whispered to himself. He'd recently heard the cafe was bleeding money under its current management, but reports weren't enough. He needed to see the truth with his own eyes. The first thing he noticed when he walked in was the silence. No music. Customers looked bored and unengaged. The staff drained and tense. Something seriously wrong here, he thought. With a cloth in one hand and a spray bottle in the other, Ethan started wiping tables. Every chance he got, he eavesdropped on customer complaints, watched the register, and listened closely to the kitchen behind the swinging doors. Then someone barked at him. "Hey, janitor, quit standing around and scrub the back sinks. This place looks like hell." The voice was sharp. The woman holding a tablet, clicking around in heels, pacing like she owned the place, was Claire, the cafe's general manager. Ethan lowered his head. He had personally hired her years ago. Claire scowled at the staff, barked at a server for a late order, and acted like any mistake was a crime. Right then, Ethan saw it. Her style was killing the soul of the cafe. As he cleaned, a young employee quietly approached him. He looked about 19, hopeful eyes, tired face. "Hey, you're new, right?" he whispered. "If you stand up too straight, Claire will make you a target. Just don't look her in the eye, trust me." Ethan gave him a small smile. "Thanks. What's your name?" "Sam. For now, I'm just trying to survive." By the time Ethan found a rusty chair in the tiny break room behind the kitchen, the weight of the day had finally settled on him. But it wasn't his body that was tired. It was what he had seen. The servers looked like they were walking on eggshells. Every time Claire's voice echoed through the cafe, they instinctively lowered their heads, avoiding eye contact like it might burn. Just a 5-minute delay on the order screen was enough to send Claire storming into the kitchen like a thundercloud. Sam walked in holding a chipped mug in his hands. His voice trembled as he whispered, "If Claire sees this, she's gonna lose it." Ethan looked at the mug, a tiny crack on the rim, but the real cracks were in Sam's hands, lines of exhaustion far deeper than porcelain. "This isn't your fault," Ethan said gently. "A mug doesn't define a person." Sam smiled faintly, eyes down. "Yeah, well, it does here. One mistake and you're not a person anymore, just a liability. We're not human, we're just labor." Ethan took a slow breath. "How long have you been working here?" 10 months, Sam said. "Trying to go to school too, but between shifts and homework, it's almost impossible. And Claire's stare, I can't even explain it." Just then Claire burst into the room. "What's going on in here? This is not your break time." Her eyes locked on Ethan. "And you haven't even learned to wash teacups properly, and here you are, lounging like you run the place." Ethan lowered his gaze, but inside his heart was pounding. Not from fear, but something deeper. What he saw wasn't just mismanagement. It was a system designed to break people. "It's fine," he said calmly. "I'm just observing." Claire let out a sarcastic laugh. "Yeah? Well, keep observing, sweetheart. Something tells me you won't be here long." That night, Ethan stayed quiet until the cafe closed. He wiped down tables, scrubbed sinks, took out the trash. But only one thought ran through his mind. This isn't just bad management. This is a system that drains the soul out of people, and I need proof. The next morning, he returned with a small bag. Inside were several micro cameras, no bigger than a button, and discrete audio recorders. He carefully placed them above the kitchen shelves near the order screen and just outside the employee entrance. Each device was silent, but watching, listening. And that day, Claire was worse than ever. She screamed at a server over a mixed-up order, snapped at the cashier for smiling too much, and mocked Sam's tea-making skills in front of customers. By the end of the shift, Sam approached Ethan, his voice low. "Do you think this is normal? I mean, she stands over me the whole day, criticizing everything. She wants to embarrass me in front of people." Ethan looked him in the eyes. "Sam, it's not normal, but you're not alone." Sam blinked, like hearing those words for the first time in forever. "You're the first person here who's ever said that." Ethan reached into his pocket and handed Sam a folded note. "Read this before you head out tonight," he said. The note simply read, "Silence is complicity. Tomorrow, everything changes. The real owner." The next morning, the atmosphere at the cafe was tense as always. Staff kept their heads down. Claire barked orders like usual. But Ethan was oddly calm. Quietly, through the back service hallway, he brought in a small laptop. The footage from the hidden cameras. He had it all. By 11 a.m., Claire was back to making the cafe feel like a stage for her own drama. "This latte is freezing." "Apologizing to the customer isn't enough, Sam. And you," her eyes locked on Ethan, "I honestly don't know why you're still here. Only thing keeping you around is our patience." Ethan gently set his rag down, untied his apron, straightened his collar, and stood up. The cafe fell silent. "Your patience?" he repeated. Interesting choice of words. Claire squinted at him. "Look at you, getting all confident. You do floors, not leadership." Ethan smiled. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small company badge. He placed it on the counter. It read, "CEO, Harvest Group." Claire's face turned ghost white. "This is a joke?" "I wish it were," Ethan said calmly. "But thanks to your sense of humor, I had to come see things for myself." Everyone stared in shock. Sam nearly dropped his tray. Ethan turned to the room. "For weeks, I've worked beside you. I've scrubbed, sweated, been shouted at, but most importantly, I've seen what you go through." Claire stammered, Look, I was just trying to enforce discipline." Ethan shook his head slowly. "Bullying isn't discipline, and your idea of leadership has killed the spirit of this place." From the back, a barista stepped forward and handed him a recorder. Ethan pressed play. The audio filled the room. Claire's yelling, her mockery, the way she humiliated staff, everything documented. After Claire's departure, the cafe fell silent. But it wasn't the silence of fear anymore. It was the sound of relief, like even the walls were finally breathing. Sam set his tray down and walked up to Ethan. "You were here all this time, and you didn't say a word." Ethan smiled. "You weren't speaking. I wanted to listen." Sam's eyes welled up. "When I first got this job, this cafe was my dream. Then it turned into a nightmare. But today, maybe it can be a dream again." That morning, Ethan gathered all the staff in the center of the cafe. They were still a little stunned, but the fear was gone from their eyes. Ethan began, "This place isn't just a coffee shop. It's where we breathe, work, and grow together. From now on, decisions will be made as a team." A notebook made its way around the room. Everyone wrote down their names, ideas, and feedback. New menu suggestions, flexible shifts, shared lunch breaks, small things, but they meant everything. Then Ethan introduced the new acting manager, says, "Sam." Sam's eyes went wide. "Me? But I'm just a..." Ethan gently cut in. "The one who hears everyone's voice the loudest deserves to lead. Leadership belongs to those who use their voice last." Sam stood there in disbelief. "But I'm just someone who had a dream." Ethan nodded. "And anyone with a dream can start something." 1 week later, there was the usual morning hustle outside Harvest Grounds Cafe, but this time, laughter echoed from inside. Employees were making coffee for each other. Customers were calling servers by name. And standing in the middle of it all was Ethan Brooks. He wasn't wearing an apron anymore, but he was still wiping down tables. Sam walked over. "Ethan, you're the CEO. You don't have to clean tables." Ethan smiled. That's exactly why I'm doing it, Sam. Real leadership starts with sharing the load. That evening after closing time, Ethan gathered everyone for a small ceremony. No fancy decorations, just a simple stage and a microphone. But his words were anything but simple. This cafe was once my dream, but over time I forgot who it was really for. It wasn't built for me, it was built for you. And that's why, starting today, you are the owners. The room fell silent. From now on, this cafe will run as a co-op. Everyone will share in the profits. Everyone will have a voice. There were tears, not of sadness, of release, of joy. Sam hugged Ethan tight. Why are you doing this? Ethan whispered. Because somewhere along the way I forgot what being the boss really meant, and you reminded me. Just then, a local reporter snapped a photo. The CEO on his knees picking up a napkin from the cafe floor. The headline the next morning? The hidden owner, the open heart, a CEO's real lesson in leadership.
If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Subscribe for more inspiring stories.